one and all. We're here to speak with HAZEL SINANAN, and she is a Reiki master teacher, and we are so happy to have her in Jamaica. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here.
And we are so glad to have you here, and we love to talk to you. We want to ask you so many things, but we're going to get started just to know a little bit about you and your history. You know, you grew up in Trinidad. Tell us about your experience growing up.
Okay, well, I was one of 5 children, the second. There are 3 brothers and, well, 2 girls. I was second in line. And I grew up in the countryside of Claxton Bay in Trinidad. And I had, both my parents went in the field of education, so education was, crucial and a significant part of our lives. And I qualified as an attorney at law there in 1994. And I had a very happy childhood, very supportive parents, and yeah. Is there anything else in particular you'd like to know?
How did you get involved in spiritual work or Reiki?
Okay, I came to England in 1998, so I left Trinidad to go to England in 1998 to pursue a master's degrees in law there. I was already practicing law for about 4 years in Trinidad prior to that. And I re-qualified as a solicitor after I completed my master's degree, and I began working as a solicitor in a law firm. And I think that during I would say 8 years that were subsequent to me taking up employment there, I had many experiences that I would say conspired to me awakening to my true self, being the spirit within me, my inner being. And it was those experiences that propelled me on my spiritual journey and that led me to various healing modalities such as angelic Reiki.
Angelic Reiki. And that's different from Reiki generally?
It's different from the traditional form of Usui Reiki in that the angelic kingdom does all the attunements for the candidates, and the teacher is simply a facilitator or conduit. Additionally, there is only one hand position, and the symbols are from Atlantean times, and the predominant difference is that the practitioner only has to hold the space. So the practitioner's responsibility is to hold the space in unconditional love, so that the angels can use the practitioner as a vehicle or vessel to transfer the angelic healing vibration to the client, and also to see the client as perfectly whole and complete, because the angels see us as God sees us, whole, complete and perfect. If the practitioner is to see the client as diseased or ill, we are reinforcing within the energetic field of the client that they are not whole and perfect, which is their natural state.
Okay, so tell me, maybe 80% or 100% of persons who are involved in Reiki, do they use it? What do they use it for? Mainly, is it healing or
Yes, Reiki generally is used as an alternative modality to let's say medical form of healing, because medicine prevalently focuses on the symptoms because that's what's observable. Very seldom can they find the cause of the diseases, because the cause tends to either originate in the mental and emotional body, which are subtle bodies of our lower bodies, as well as the etheric field, which holds the envelope of our soul, which very much is interwoven within us.
Tell me, Hazel, you are considered a master teacher, and give us an idea of how you got to that level.
Yes. Well, to become a master teacher, you have to undergo various training, and there's levels 1 and 2, which I taught in Jamaica over the weekend. Then there's the master level, which is 3 and 4, which initiates you into the master energy. It's basically an invitation for you to embrace your mastery. And then there's the professional practitioners that trains you how to practice this professionally. So there's a certain ethics that is involved with the practice. and then there's the master teacher level, which trains you to facilitate others, the modality for others. So it's intensive training. I mean, some master teachers actually would run it 9 days in a row, but the majority of them space it out so that they give the students an opportunity to practice before they move on to the next level, because one must be ready spiritually to embrace the higher levels.
And how long have you been a master teacher?
Last year, June.
Tell us about the paradigm of God is within us,
Right.
which I love to hear about.
Yes.
That's so good to hear.
Well, I do want to make a categorical statement that God is within us. Now, those of us who have grown up in religion, our religious upbringing and practice have taught us that God is this being that is above and beyond us. And when we pray or worship this God, we worship in separation to ourselves. Now, the truth is that God is omnipresent, isn't it? And we all say God is omnipresent, meaning all present. So if God is omnipresent, why is it so difficult to comprehend that God is present within us? So that is actually just one perspective that I'd like the audience to take into consideration. But the second perspective is that we have biological parents, and we inherit our parents' DNA in ourselves, don't we? And the DNA imprint of our parents, it holds their belief patterns, their conditioning, their traits. And when we have those imprints within us, isn't it that some of us resemble our parents? We sound similarly in terms of the tone of voice to our parents. We have certain mannerisms and features. So we reflect our parents because we hold their DNA within us. And those 2 strands of DNA, the double helix, are the strands that are observable under a microscope. But what about the other 10 strands that the scientist refers to as junk DNA or dormant DNA? Well, they are our spiritual DNA. That's the DNA that links us up to the source. And if those additional DNA strands are activated, we will embrace and embody and accrete more of the source's light within us and begin to feel the presence of God within us. What people don't realize is that DNA is paramount to consciousness. And most of us, most people when they incarnate, they have 3 to 3.5 strands actually activated. That allows them only to connect with the lower dimensions of consciousness, which is through what we call a 3D consciousness. But it takes the higher strand, the other strands, to be activated. For example, when strand 4 is activated, we begin to experience what is called unconditional self-love or omni-love. Omni-love is love for all. When we experience unconditional self-love, we are actually experiencing God, because God is pure love.
And you said there's 10 strands.
Well, the original organic DNA template was the angelic diamond sun template, which carried 12 strands. But now we have a very evolved souls incarnating, and we call them children, but they're not really children. You would notice that they're very advanced in the way that they speak, and they have inquiring minds. They are not followers, they are leaders. They, in fact, can have, they call indigo children or rainbow children, 24 strands, and even above that. Because what happened was that the dormant DNA strands were meant to actually activate automatically during different timelines in our life. However, because of the distortions within the DNA itself, so there's been distortions in the grids, the Earth's grids, distortions in the Earth's grids, but there are also distortions within our DNA that causes things like hormonal imbalances. There are energetic blockages, there are what is called reverse phyletic sequences within the DNA. Think of your DNA like a clock with 12 strands. It's supposed to be 12 strands going this way, it's reversing. And because of that, they are no longer activating automatically. So either they must be manually activated, or our guides and angels will know when we are ready and they can work on our DNA for us.
And all of that is to say that God is within us and we are not separate from Him. We are so connected.
Precisely, but the reason why, one of the reasons why people cannot truly experience the fullness of the presence of a light within us is because they are only connected to the 3D, the 3 or 3.5 strands. You need to have 4 to 6 actually represents your higher self.
How do they get to be connected?
Well, as I
more
said,
so than the 3D, the 3 strands.
Well, they are no longer automatically connected, activated as they were meant to be because of all the distortions in the Earth's grid and the DNA. Remember, the Earth also has DNA, and we inherit everything that the Earth has because we share a morphogenetic field, which is the blueprint of form. So either we have
eat from the Earth.
Precisely. People don't realize that everything that is imprinted on the Earth, we inherit. Not just from our parents, but we are part of a collective consciousness, so we all affect each other. So that's why they say the more of us that accrete more and more of the divine light within us and raise our vibrations and frequency, we are contributing to raising the vibration and frequency of the collective consciousness.
And to put it simply, plants grow.
Yes.
And if plants die, we can't survive.
Precisely.
And it's a full circle with bees and so many other things.
Precisely. Okay. So people need to appreciate that DNA is consciousness, and it is important to recognize that it's not just about praying to a God outside of you. You are petitioning a God outside of you, but how are you engaging with that God? Are you receiving? What type of interaction is it? We are speaking right now. You can hear me, I can hear you. We are giving, we are receiving. But when people pray and they put their petition to the Father, are they hearing Him? Or are they waiting to see something tangible, that is their prayers being answered? And what happens if the prayer isn't answered? Does that mean that God hasn't heard them or answered?
Right, because I think some people just want to know that He has heard the prayers.
Well,
and they don't know. Sometimes they're self-doubt, they don't have enough faith to.
Well, what I'm trying to say to you is not so much the fact that God exists that matters, but it's more important that we feel the presence of God. So if we begin to engage with the Father from within through meditation, and we work on clearing those blockages that may preempt us or impede us from connecting with a higher consciousness and the light within ourselves, then we begin to enjoy that presence more. And He becomes like a best friend.
Well, you made a perfect segue, meditation. How can people use that to enhance their relationship with the love, the divine love?
Okay, so we have a telecommunication network system here and in every country. You pick up the telephone and you can call your parents, your relatives, your loved ones. How do you call God? We have an internal, invisible telecommunication network system also. But if the lines are not clear, you're not going to have a proper connection, are you? So you can be using meditation, which really requires you to silence your mind, still your mind and still your body, to lose that body awareness, to emerge from just being in the senses and intending to connect with a higher mind.
Is there a right way or a wrong way to
There are many ways.
Like yoga, is there a correct form?
No, there are many different types of practices, yoga practices, and each will gravitate to the one that they feel is best for them or her. But for me, I have never used yoga to meditate. I simply find a quiet space and I intend to connect with the source, because meditation, I have been taught, is a conference between your soul and the soul of God. And in order to connect with the soul of God, I need to forget my body for a bit. I need to sever my human consciousness from the seat of body awareness And it's as if I just, through the breath, you relax the body so it becomes forgotten. And you still your mind. And you say, Father, I wish to spend time with you. And instead of using words, but we could be quite verbose as humans, we feel the more we speak, God is hearing us. But He has taught me, and I have learned from this because I love to speak too, that I don't need to hear your language. I don't need you to speak in words. I need to feel the longings in your heart, because that is where your truth lies. Your lips can lie, but your heart cannot lie. So engrave your prayer, engrave your desire, your longings in your heart, and let us meet there. So I say to people, and this is the point I'd like to make to you, how it is we can't be separate from God and He's within us. Think of this source, even if you want to think of the source above us, okay? Just as how we had an umbilical cord that connected us to our mother when we were in her womb. Well, we have an umbilical cord that connects us to God throughout our incarnation on this planet, wherever we are. And it is through that umbilical cord that the spark of God's divinity travels. So it's called a threefold flame of life, consciousness, and free will, which is His gift to us. It comes through that spark from His heart, through the umbilical cord, and rests in our heart. It is sealed in our physical heart. And that is where God's love, power, and wisdom resides. So the spark of divinity, that is the divine presence of God, or sparkling, is in our physical heart. So in true meditation, I say to people, and I often do this myself, I place my consciousness in my heart. I create a sanctuary in my heart. You can make it paradise, whatever you choose. It could be golden, it could be full of crystals, it could be full of light, whatever you want it to be. That peaceful place where you go to connect with your divine essence. The presence of God within you. Where no one can disturb you. This is your birthright. This is your divine right to connect with your Father in this way.
It's interesting that you say your heart, because some people would term it, I don't know if this is the correct way of putting it, your soul. In the way you see things, how do you see the difference with what's in your heart versus what's in your soul?
Your soul is that which it is the intangible, invisible part of you that may register in your form, but is beyond your form. That's the part that has to evolve or unfold, and it is decisions that you make in your life that will determine the unfoldment or evolution of that soul. Now, God is not just present in your heart through that divine spark, but a fragment of God is also within the mind. Why the mind? Because we use the mind to think, don't we? And we need to emerge from the lower ways of thinking, which is premised on the ego mind or the carnal mind. So God, a fragment of God, is in our minds to quicken the mind, so or to adjust the way that we think, so that we can embrace a higher perspective, a higher way of thinking. So we have the mind, where God is, and the heart. But remember, for all intents and purposes, the soul is made possible because of God. So therefore, we can say that God is in the seat of our soul also.
Mm-hmm.
Do you follow me?
I do. There's a saying in Jamaica about old soul. You know, people will be talking about a friend and they say, boy, he's an old soul.
Okay.
You know, reference
Yeah.
meaning, you know, somebody who's got a good heart, who's, you know, just genuine to the core.
Okay. Well,
You know.
that you see how perceptions can change, because my interpretation of someone with an old soul is someone who has incarnated, has had several incarnations on the planet and is quite evolved actually, and has a lot of wisdom.
Yes, that too. That's part of the reference.
Okay.
Does that mean that that same soul has lived before?
Yes.
And again?
That soul could have had myriad incarnations, not just on this planet, but other planets, throughout the solar system, throughout the galaxy, throughout the universes. We limit the way we think, and we have to emerge from that form of limited thinking and limited beliefs. I have a beautiful communication with the Father. To the point where meditation for me now is moment by moment communication with God. I don't even have to sit down in solitude, which I do, which I love to do, to receive. But I say, Father, I want to be connected to you every single moment of my life. I give you permission to live through me. I give you permission to unite your God mind with my mind, that I may draw from the deep well of your knowing. Be the fulcrum of my thinking. Unite your God mind with my mind, and think with me. Be the custodian of my thoughts. I want to walk in your rhythm, Father. Therefore, let it be the rhythm of your love. So let me feel the unified heartbeat, the heartbeat of God through mine. And this is the seat of love, isn't it? When people, don't you hear people saying, my heart is broken? Why? Because somebody who they love has either revoked that love or stopped loving them. This is where God is, remember I told you. If you can find love, and you know what love is, you will know God. And if you know God, you will know the ecstasy of eternal oneness. Because you are so connected, you feel so unified with that presence there. How could you be anything but love? How could you know anything but oneness? How could you not feel connected to every life force in God's creation? So to move the paradigm a bit further, where we said God is within us, if you can begin to cultivate a relationship with God within you, you begin to experience that oneness, and you cannot but feel connected.